Hi, I'm Kat.
And I'm Gabe.
And we're the Ghouls Next Door.
Talking
Yeah.
about spooky stuff.
You know.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Kat and I are both sick.
Super sick.
Because this is what this time of year brings.
We're going to talk real sick and sexy to you tonight.
Yeah.
This is our sultry, sick voice.
Hey, listener. Why don't you tune in to the Ghouls Next Door? We're going to take you on a long night ride.
Yes.
To make your dreams come true.
Yes.
That's good. I like that you're just like a hype man, but for your sultry radio voice.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, we're talking about dreams, though.
Yeah, we're talking about dreams today.
Dreams and nightmares.
Yeah.
Because they're both.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have good without bad.
Yeah.
You can't have happy without sad.
You know,
That's probably a song.
Dream is another man's nightmare.
Yep.
I'm sure.
These are all great anecdotes.
Yeah. We have actually covered nightmares before.
Yeah.
And in that we talked about sleep paralysis, about insomnia. Uh-huh. We covered Nightmare on Elm Street and the documentary. Yeah, and the documentary about sleep paralysis, which was really fun. We also talked about your narcolepsy.
Yeah, I feel like I talked about it a bit in there. I don't know if I fully went in.
Yeah, but, it was a little lesson. That was that was episode 3.
Yeah, that was early. That's when I didn't even fully know what my narcolepsy was. So
yeah,
we were figuring it out together.
Yeah, we were on an adventure in that episode. And so this whole month we are kind of diving into episodes that we've done previously, but like a little differently. Like we're covering a different aspect of that topic. So last week we were talking about demonology, and we had already talked about exorcisms. So there was this whole idea of like what comes before that, what are the people who are involved in that, what is that? So we talked about demonology, and before that we talked about children. And if you're a hardcore listener, you've heard us talk about children before.
In the before time where it was real bad.
Yeah, and it was also it was more about murderous children and not so much the roles that children play in horror.
Truth.
So in our live episode this month, you could hear us talking about that. But today we're talking about dreams. So we're not going to be touching on sleep paralysis and all of that, but we're going to talk about what dreams are and what reality is, and
how there's a fine, spooky line between the two.
Yeah, what do we even know what we're doing
is real?
Now? What is real?
I don't know. Neither do you. You think you do, but you don't. And I'm going to tell you about it.
Okay. Well, so sit tight, listener, and get ready for a wild ride into dreamland.
Yeah.
Get facts. We tell you facts. All the facts. Hear facts. Still facts. About that spooky stuff. Yeah, spooky stuff.
So, I want to start with everything that I read.
Mm-hmm.
Just really furthered my very real fear that we are currently in the Matrix. And I know what you're thinking. Before maybe you're like, nah, we're not in the Matrix. Robots don't have us in giant tubes. That's not happening. But also, you can't prove it's not happening. Because everything is questionable now.
Yeah.
After the things that I've read.
Yes. And the things we've watched.
Yeah, it just feels like the brain is a very complex thing. And in doing a lot of the research, it's a lot of people have kind of an idea, but no one really knows.
Mm-hmm.
No one agrees with each other. It's real vague. Even when looking at the dreams, it was just this means this, maybe. Yeah. And it's just trying to figure out what's real and what's not.
Well, we're very complex.
Yeah, as humans, we're very complex. And I think the reason it's so hard to figure out what's real and what's not is it's really hard to tell, in life, in your brain, what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
So the world we know could just be nothing more than a carefully laid out stream of hallucinations.
I guess.
Yeah. So, in fact, there's an Indian neuroscientist, V.S. Ramachandran. Oh, did I say it right?
Ramachandran.
Ramachandran.
Yeah.
Yes. who I am somewhat fangirling over because they had just like real cool ideas.
Yeah.
And like they just are really creative thinkers. Like I was reading a lot of the way he discovered his studies and stuff that he was doing. And it was just like, all of it was like, no one's ever thought like this before. So why not? Let's try it. And it was like, so basically he made a lot of really great advances in like understanding the brain, but then also understanding like our perceptions of reality and like the world around us.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought he had a lot of really interesting things to say. But specifically he's done a lot of amazing work of revolving around like people suffering from phantom limbs and like how to like kind of heal from that by retraining the brain to realize that, you know what I mean? Like when you lose something, your brain still has connection to it.
Yeah, it still thinks it's there.
Yeah. So essentially he did this big experiment where he tested to see if when he touched different parts of the face and had like light ups in the brain, essentially, but like there were like a way to map out what parts of the brain light up because we have that technology now. And essentially he put that on the person's head. And when he touched his face, the person reacted and was like, I can feel that in my pinky. But it was a phantom pinky. So phantom pinky. And he's like, he touched his nose or whatever. And it was like, he could feel it in his thumb. Mm. And it was like showing that your brain just replaces the location. And that's like, it doesn't fully comprehend that it's gone until you really like therapy that into existence. So he developed like these mirror therapies to like retrain the brain to have like the correct version of reality.
Yeah.
And it like helped a lot of people. And then also he's just really instrumental in figuring out that the brain is plastic.
Mm-hmm.
So all that trauma 101 stuff that like kind of is the reason that I feel okay with my life. He was part of like the work for that. So I decided, even though this phrase is taken completely out of context, that this guy knows what he is talking about. So he said, we are constantly hallucinating, and what we perceive to be true are simply hallucinations that best fit the current central information.
Okay.
So, like, whatever we want to be true is what's true. That's why there's some people who don't take the blue pill or the red pill. I don't know which one it was, but there's someone who stays in the matrix, and there's someone who's like, I'm fine with the other reality. Mm-hmm. A lot of us in the world would rather just chill and stay in the matrix.
Yes.
I'm probably one of them. Although, real root of the matrix make my body work this crappy. Because if I was, like, I might as well just be out then, you know? Maybe it works better there. Who knows?
No, it's probably much worse.
Stop! That's rude to, like, train some sort of, like, natural, like, exception. Oh.
Yeah, they gotta make it real.
No. My brain wouldn't know. Maybe my program's just broken.
Maybe your brain would know.
It's doing a glitch.
What, and everyone else who has, like, bodies that are different are also broken?
I don't know, man. Now you're making it complicated. Like, this entire thing.
Yep.
But yeah, so essentially it's just basically like it's very hard to tell what's real and what's not real. And that's kind of what's scary about like those really vivid dreams that like people can have or like that vague state, like when we were talking about sleep paralysis, when you see things. Mm-hmm. So it's like those hallucinations. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I said a longer version before.
Hallucinations.
Yep. So yeah, hallucinations. I did it. So basically there's no way to really tell what's real and what's not real. And it's really just like kind of what the brain feels like it. So I don't think anyone can tell me we're not in the matrix right now. Mm-hmm. I no longer believe that to be an impossible thing. So yeah, I'm not trying to spiral uncontrollably into conspiracy theory, but as a human with a neurological sleep illness, I'm always actively questioning that line already. Mm-hmm. And that's a scary thing. So it's like where you wake up or you thought you woke up and like took a shower and got ready for work. And then you wake up and you're still in your bed. Mm-hmm. Or like when you have a really scary dream and it just feels so real. Like something's chasing you so intensely and you wake up like as if you had just been running.
Yeah.
It's like really hard to tell. And there's so many different theories that exist around the brain and what we do when we sleep, and that no one really has like the real answer. So it's like there's people who believe that you go to sleep and then there's another reality that you wake up into, and we just don't have recollection of. That's why they describe people as having other lives. Mm-hmm. There's the one where what you're sleeping does basically is a feeling of like what your true desires are. You know what I mean? Like everyone has a different theory.
Yeah.
None of them are the same. No one knows. And that's scary. Because then we could just be in the Matrix the whole time. But yeah. According to neurophysiological... Oh my god, did I just say that right?
Yeah.
Apparently from a neurophysiological point of view, there is no way to differentiate with absolute certainty between being awake and dreaming. So your brain lights up the same way when it's dreaming in REM sleep as it does when you're just walking down the street regular.
Because your brain doesn't know.
Your brain doesn't know. So how do we really know? Is where I'm at.
I think, therefore I am.
Yeah, they say that, but...
That's all I got.
what
I can't
I'm
say that
saying
you
is-
are, but I can say I am.
But it's like, so science is telling us that like there's really no way to really differentiate what's happening in our brains. So that the neuronal processes are the same. So, like, stay with me here. But the fact that science has no real consensus on why we dream or the real happenings when we sleep, and that the brain so heavily influences how we perceive our reality. So, like, you know, if there's that whole fear... You know, that like in the video games, you know, if you die in the video game,
You die in
real life if you're in those virtual reality things.
Yes.
Or like, you know, so it's like the brain is very instrumental. Like there's people who have died literally just from like not having the will to like want to be here anymore. Like their heart and their brain did that. Like they thought that way and then that happened.
Yes.
So the brain is a powerful thing.
Yes.
Who is going to stand there and tell me that it is impossible with undeniable evidence that we're not all like tubes fueling the unseen robot army? And that's just where I'm at. And I think that's why it's scary, because it's like, one, you kind of question your sanity when you're like thinking about dreams. So you're like, what is real and what's not? That like really fragile line between the false and the real is something like I had to deal with a lot when I like didn't know I had narcolepsy, and I thought I literally was just losing my mind because my memories would live in my dream states and would not come to me in waking memory. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have connections to things, and I would do things and just not remember doing them. So it's like that reality that like, what is reality? Mm-hmm. What is real, and what is just something I've imagined, or who was in control during that time if it wasn't me? And then all this other like shady, stressful stuff.
Yeah.
That I just feel like make dreams really scary. And that's how I personally feel about it.
Okay.
And I think that's like how we kind of see it unpack in media, where it's usually, you know, the fear is not knowing.
Yeah.
The fear is there's so many possibilities and there's no way for us to fully understand them. Like in the Matrix, the whole thing is that so many people just don't know they're being used.
Yeah.
So many people don't know that what they see isn't real, and they just put so much meaning into it, and it means nothing. Mm-hmm. You know,
and then
like
it's
that's
also
terrifying.
like the fragility that comes with like experiencing something that might not be real and just being like, wait, then what is real? And the complete breakdown of like your entire reality and who you are as a person.
And we see that in a lot of the movies where, you know, something supernatural is happening or something that is not fathomable with the current state of science or reality that we know, that it just makes us question everything else that's ever happened. And I think that's something as humans, like, is very terrifying to us. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Like, I might talk more. We'll find out.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to kind of jump into what dreams mean, because I think that's interesting, because like a lot of people have the same recurring dreams. And I think that's really interesting, because when we talked about the sleep paralysis episode, what I thought was really cool was that there in that documentary, and then with talking with other people who have had sleep paralysis, we've all kind of had similar experiences. So just like that same creature. And that to me is like super eerie. And
Yeah,
it's just
that's
like,
very
what
scary.
is that? We're all the same person. Why wouldn't it be different?
What if that was when we wake up for a second
And the
the
aliens-
robots or aliens are like leaning down over us and it's that guy?
Yeah. Just for that moment.
Just so you know, I'm just furthering my theory here.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like that film we watched. What was it from
Fourth
the
Kind?
No, the Hulu Into the Dark, where it was a woman who crossed the border.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she ended up
Yeah.
as in a VR thing. But I always thought it was interesting because people always have like those very like usual dreams that everyone has, and there's always talk like when someone's like, oh my gosh, I've had this like recurring nightmare or this recurring dream. Does anyone know what this means? Right? And it's like, odds are if you're having like a reoccurring dream or nightmare, it's probably like you're under a lot of stress. And for some reason or another. Like that your brain isn't able to rest and that it's fixating on those things. And sometimes the truth comes through there. But sometimes it's just random, meaningless stuff. It just means your brain is like shutting down that way.
Yeah.
Like it just taking a nap. But we decided to dig into what some people might say dreams mean. And the one thing to take from this is that we have no idea. There is no exact answer because we're all different people. They're all different factors and features to our dreams and to our realities that just can't, like, there's no like one set of rules that you just drape onto someone. It's all like, this could be this.
Yeah.
Or it could be something else completely different.
It's like when you have like horoscopes and you're like,
Yeah.
you might find love or
You might hate someone.
yeah, it's just like we gotta meet everybody.
Yeah.
You can't just make one cookie cutter. I don't know. We must a cookie cutter thing on for a person. You gotta make it different.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're all different chocolate chip cookies because our chocolate chips are in different places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unique.
Yes. Yeah. It is all different, right? So even when we were trying to look into this, there was just every website or person who was trying to explain what dreams are had their own interpretation. Because again, it is that, right? It's so bizarre. Like even I try to look up like the dark zodiac at some point when we're talking about zodiacs, and it was like every website had a different explanation what the dark zodiac was, and I was like, all right, well now I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
now I quit. But I think it's still fun to kind of talk about because it is fascinating, and sometimes like even with zodiacs, right? Like when you're reading your horoscope and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so me. Oh my god, I'm so me. That I'm such a Scorpio, which is very true. And Kat is very much a Gemini.
Except I'm very antisocial.
Yeah.
Unless I know you, then we're best friends. But like best friends.
Yeah, that's the other half of you.
Yeah.
It's the second side. I'm just loud all the time. So just remember that no one agrees on these things, and every website had different things to say about it.
That's our way of saying please don't fact check us because there are no facts.
There's no facts. We tried. We're willy-nilly in here. And we settled on the website verywellmind.com.
Yeah.
And they talk about understanding your dreams.
Yes, they do.
So one of the most common nightmares and dreams that people experience is being chased.
Yeah, I've had those.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I've had a reoccurring dream that happens to me where I'm being chased, and it's always on my street from growing up. And I've moved around a lot.
Yeah,
but it was like the street where I grew up when I was in high school. But I'm like running down the street, and as soon as I get past like my block and I'm about to head on to the other block, it was very vast because it was suburban. So there's just lots of like trees and people, like the houses, right? After I get past that first block and I would like kind of get past like the more familiar homes, it would just start morphing into like other places I've been. And it's just like continuous running forever. And it was always like a person that there was always someone behind me and I don't know who it is.
Yeah. No, that's really real. I wish that we could just do a whole episode just talking about our dreams, because I've said some real horrific ones that were just like really stressful. Specifically with being chased when I was younger, it was a reoccurring dream that there was a T-Rex chasing my school bus.
Oh.
So I mean, most of the time I'd be in the school bus, but sometimes I'd be in the school
Yeah.
and the T-Rex would just be
Trying to get in.
trying to get me.
It's
It
like,
was weird.
what
It
is
was
it?
all the time.
Jurassic Park 1?
I was very scared of the T-Rex in Jurassic Park and its eyes and windows
Yeah,
and
you got
stuff.
in the
Like
window.
that was
I
so
guess it would
scary
be
to me.
2. One of the ones where they bring him back or something.
Yeah, I just know I had that dream like every week.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild. But if you do have a dream of being chased, right? So it can vary. So sometimes it's someone who's totally random, like with mine, where it's just like I don't know who that person is. Sometimes it's a specific person, or it's not a person. Like it could be a monster or a black figure, right? That you're just like, this is a shadow, and it's coming after. Or I haven't even looked behind me. I don't know what's behind there.
I just know I need to run.
I just have, and I
Something.
can't. And I'm stuck in that kind of like mud.
Yeah.
I always have dreams where I need to hit somebody, and then for some reason now I can't because like it's really slow to get my like fist to go where it needs to go, and I'm like,
that's
this is the
stress.
one, and I get so mad because all I want to do is just really, really punch this person, and I can't. So that's the Scorpio in me. So fun not fact is that kids do usually dream more about animals and fantastic creatures. So like they're more susceptible to whatever they were watching on TV being the thing that's chasing them.
Yeah.
So it's like the Jurassic Park
Oh
dinosaurs.
yeah, it was always them.
Or for me, having Chucky from Child's Play chasing me. Like,
Kid stuff.
and apparently the meaning of the dream changes depending on who it is that is pursuing you. So if it's like a random mysterious person, then it's probably just like past experience or trauma that you're running from, which is interesting, specifically when we talk about one of the films that we watched, because this is definitely that. Whereas like he is both being pursued and pursuing, and it's all with this, like it's reoccurring because he really is just trying to work through some of his own personal issues. If it's an animal, then it can show fear of your own flaws, anger, and passion. So just like it's pretty much like your own emotions that you're like, what am I, like I'm feeling too much.
Yeah.
I'm too much in my own head.
Too
and
much
now
in
it's
my feelings.
yeah, too much in your feelings, and then there's a tiger behind you now. So I guess you're a tiger. Get it together. And it can also mean, in what every single one of these dreams, I would say, just like as a blanket statement, can mean that you're just under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And that you're in some way being inhibited or pressured, right? Like you feel like you're restrained in your daily life, or you're feeling like you're being pushed too far in your daily life. And that's also a direct influence on whether or not you have sleep paralysis too. Like I suffered sleep paralysis just because I was super stressed in my life. Losing teeth is another one. I remember having a dream where I lost teeth, and the big deal about it was that it was in middle school when I had to play the trumpet. Ooh. And so I was like, I can't play my trumpet because like now my mouth doesn't fit right. Like I can't push against my mouthpiece properly. And that's what I was stressed out about. I was like, I have a trumpet performance.
Yeah. And so you were worried.
Yeah. And that was it. But like in the dream, I had a trumpet performance. I don't know if I did in real life. But if you lose your teeth, it usually has to do with a fear of your appearance, how you're presented outwardly, whether that's vocally or physically, right? And that's kind of like, I guess I was like, oh my God, how am I going to be presented as a trumpet player?
Trumpet's hard.
Am I good at this? No.
What if one of my family members comes and they're like, oh, they can't do that no more. That's terrible.
What if one of my family comes is honestly a really good question, because it was always like, will they? Probably not.
What if I'm not good enough to even get them there? That's that's what the kids think.
Yeah, what if I convince them to come there and then I'm bad at it? And now they're like, this is why we don't come.
Yeah.
So that would suck. So it really ties, the losing teeth really ties into how you feel you're communicating or portraying yourself to the world, right? So like, am I coming across the way that I want to? Dreams about falling are also very common. And it's, ties to that idea that Kat was saying, like, if you die in the game, you die in real life, right? Yeah. And there's always that thing, like, if you hit the ground when you fall, does your brain think that you hit the ground? Yeah. I don't know if I've ever hit the ground in a dream.
Me neither.
And
I've never had the teeth falling out thing.
You're just so confident.
You
just love your face
that's what's
and
real
your body
weird
and everything about
it.
you. We all know that you just exude confidence in everything you do.
Oh yeah, me.
You can be America's Next Top Model.
Yes.
If you
100%.
have a dream about falling, it usually represents feeling out of control and a feeling of fear relating to regular life. Like you're just
Okay.
losing your stuff. Like, obviously, you're falling into nothingness or to the ground. I just wanted to pop in some really fun Freud stuff because he had his interpretation of dreams.
Yeah, Freud has interpretations of things.
He has them, and
Sure
dreams
does.
was like his favorite thing, because he used it as an excuse to be like, "See, everyone's like me because I said it." One thing I thought was really interesting in the study of his dreams was his interpretation of houses in dreams. Like everything is a person or a sexual organ, a lot of the time, but
Cool.
specifically with houses, if there's like sleek, like flat surfaces, then that was like a man. That's what it meant. It meant a man in your life. Whereas there was like, if there was projections or protrusions of like balconies and like elaborate things, then that was a woman. And it's usually things that you cling to, or it's protruding and it's like, it's fanciful. But what I found was really super cool.
Why?
So most of the things he says are sex symbols, right? And a lot of the times he's like, that's a penis. Like most,
that's
like
a penis.
always. Oh yes, the penis. Which is anytime there's a stick or a long thing, a pole, the Washington Monument, whatever it is, then that's probably the penis.
Yeah.
Because it can penetrate and cause injury, then it can be a penis. So like if there's like a weapon of some sort, like a sword or a lance.
You know what I gotta say to Freud?
Yeah.
The only reason anyone had penis envy is because dudes were such dicks. Like, if you just gave us rights, we wouldn't want you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't need a dick to, like, succeed.
Yeah. No
But
one
you
has penis envy.
Like, the only reason you think that is because you just actively, as men, put women down for so long that, like, yeah.
We want
it's-
equal rights, but that somehow
means penis. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It just means we just want to be treated like people, man.
What? Get out of here, people.
Dumb.
Women. Another fun thing is that if there's an object that has something coming out of it, like a water fountain or like a water gun or like spouting,
Is that what I think it is?
it's a penis ejaculating.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. But conversely, if we're talking about ladies, what are used to symbolize that are enclosed spaces that are capable of being filled with something.
Cool.
Just gonna let that linger for a second. So like pits or caves or bottles, ships.
Oh, I see.
The mouth.
I see
churches.
what he is suggesting there.
Where yeah, so it's just like
That's
we
our
can
only
be
purpose.
filled. That's all we are.
That's all it is.
We don't hurt. We just take in, and we can be clung to. That's what Freud said. He also said every man wants to have sex with his mom. And that we have penis envy, apparently. So that's his thing. Also, women's breasts are represented by apples, peaches, and fruits in general.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's fun. Yeah, so that's dream interpretation for you. So if you're having some dreams about like a sword stabbing a pit, then you need to get on Tinder or something. Right?
Yeah, do it. Get out there.
Yeah, films. We watched some films. Now let's talk about those films. And all that spooky stuff. And all that spooky stuff.
So we watch things.
As we do.
So we watched a film from 2006, which is an animated film, and I had heard about it previously. Like
Really?
in passing.
Okay.
And then but I never knew what it was, and I always looked a little too trippy for me, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. And then
Are you ready for this? She didn't know.
I wasn't ready. And so when we were researching for this, I was like, dream horror movies. And of course you get like Nightmare on Elm Street and the classic ones. And then I saw something that said, I saw a few that were like nightmare detectives. And I was like, okay, hold on.
What is this? I want it.
That's my new job. I'm going to be a nightmare detective. So we watched Paprika from 2006, and it's directed by Satoshi Kon. It's made by oh man, I'm totally blanking on the company that made it, but I'll remember in a moment. But Here's what it's about. When a machine that allows therapists to enter their patients' dreams is stolen, all hell breaks loose. Only a young female therapist, Paprika, can stop it.
Yeah, and I remember us watching it and being like, is this a horror movie? And then actively catching yourself and be like, yeah, this is messed up.
Yeah, yeah, like being like kind of really spooked. It's not horror in the traditional sense, right? But it is like there's a lot of body horror.
Yeah.
There's lots of creepy things in there. The fact that it's really disrupting your point of like just your understanding.
Yeah.
And it's Madhouse. So who've done a lot of really amazing things previously. So when I saw their name up there, I was like, yeah.
Oh, this is going to be good. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they've done Monster and I think it was Perfect Blue. And the newest one that I just finished watching, Death Rate.
Yeah.
So, so it was pretty interesting. So it's an animated film that's really trippy. It has some scenes that are very like Inception-ish, where it's just like we're going into a dream, into a dream, into a dream.
Yep.
Like it was like one person's dream, and then they ended up in another person's dream, and then they end up to the root of the dream, and then they have to come back out. And it's like if you die in the dream, you die in real life.
Yeah, and it was really stressful in that, like, similar to like how Inception, I guess, sort of did, where it's like if you start to go, like if you trigger insanity within that space, the person starts to, the DC Mini itself very much was something that, if you really think about it, is set up to kind of trigger that result. Mm-hmm. Like you're messing with someone's head.
Yeah.
So like you're messing with something that shouldn't be messed with. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, you're blurring the line between what's real and what's fake. Yeah. Like, you even see that, like, throughout the film where it's just like, wait, are they still in it? Oh, they're back in reality. Like, that's exactly the whole thing. Is that, like, there's such a fragile line between reality and dreaming.
Yeah.
And it's hard to tell throughout the film, and they do a really good job.
Yeah, it was, so what we have is this company that created this tool, the DC Mini, which is this thing you affix to the behind your ear, and it connects into your head, and then it connects into the therapist's head. They have their own device. Yeah. So then that therapist can kind of go into your dreams with you, and will actively, like, analyze them with you. Uh-huh. And the guy who made it, his whole thing was, like, dreams are fantastical. Like, he was like, dreams are fun. They're, it's the only place you go by yourself, and you will only ever understand it because you can't really explain that to anyone else. Yeah. And he's like, how? Because he's very jovial. He's like this big guy who's just like super just young, like immature, but insanely smart, and just like, I'm blanking on what the word would be, but he's just very happy. And so he's like, wouldn't it be really fun if like you could take your friends in your dreams, like we can go hang out. And then there's the detective, Konikawa, I believe, and he says, and you can also like help victims and people with mental illness. Yeah. And like trauma. And he's like, oh yeah, that's an added bonus. He's like, we found that and that was cool. Yeah. And so what we have is this rogue therapist who has taken the DC Mini, even though it's not out in the public yet, and is actively helping people who have trauma or experiencing something through their dreams. Yeah. And she is portrayed in the dreams as Paprika, who's this like fun, just like kind of spunky girl. Yeah. As opposed to her in real life, who's just like this very stoic, very business-like woman. Yeah.
And I mean, I know you personally haven't played Persona 5, Gabe. No. But it was very, or maybe Persona 5 is inspired by this, where it's just like the idea that there's a different version of yourself that exists within your subconscious, and it's like not able to be accessed unless like special circumstances are taking place. And that like people can create these false realities within like their dreams or desires that like live underneath their skin is kind of like what Persona is about. Yeah. And I just saw a lot of similar themes in that, where it's like you have this alter ego that's really powerful and like kicking butt, taking names, you know what I mean? Like Paprika versus, I forget her name.
I forget her as
but
well.
It's okay. The main character. And then you also have like these altered personas that are like really destructive, like I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah. Well, so
But there's a villain, and like the villain's kind of like idea of what the world should be. It was like very disturbing.
Yeah, and I think like Chiba Atsuko was her name. Atsuko. It was what was really interesting to me was that continually there is this very very vague line between reality and the dreams, because sometimes you're like, okay, this is obviously a dream, because there'd be like these really outrageous things happening, but other times it would like mimic reality. Like she's like investigating the house, and she like went into this she went through this door, and all of a sudden she's like at an amusement park, like she comes out of the thing, but it was such an easy enough and believable transition that I was like, it could be that he lives right in front of like an abandoned amusement park.
Yeah.
Right. And then like it just does really great animation work with like being very trippy and like distorting reality. And on top of that, it was super freaky.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dolls in it.
Oh, for sure.
So
It really
afraid of
plays
dolls.
into the doll fear.
Yeah, there's so many. And it's like everyone's face is on a thing that shouldn't be there, and everyone's kind of haunting. And we're all trying to figure out where we are.
You get attacked by your own face.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. It was like, and it's pretty fun. And it was like, I was watching it, I was like, what is happening? Like, who pitched this and was like, this is what we're going to do. It's this weird dream I had, and we're going to make it happen. And then they have the amazing ability to do so. And then on top of like the fact that there's a fear that someone has stolen the DC minis and therefore is causing chaos and is using the DC minis to penetrate people's brains and during awake state. Like when they're awake.
Because there's no difference between the way the blippity bloops happen in your brain when you're sleeping and when you're awake.
Yeah.
So you can do
the
that.
Machine knows that.
World.
Yeah. So it's very, very likely that would happen. So,
thriller. Oh no.
Yeah, so that's happening. And then on the back end of that, we do have Paprika, who is just doing her job and is trying to help this detective, who's actually, it's Kogawa is his name.
Yes.
And so he has this reoccurring dream, and he's running in this hallway. It's very Inception-y.
Yeah.
And so, like, working through this dream, and she, like, asks him questions, and he gets really upset. And, like, throughout the whole film, like, they'll pop back in, and he'll get upset again. And it ends up turning, like, as he asks himself those questions and really digs into them and kind of tricks himself into thinking about them, he discovers, like, his own past trauma and what he was repressing. And
gains, like, a good amount of closure, which is beautiful.
Yeah, it was really nice. It has a really interesting, like, ending, like, battle. It has really fun music in it. It's beautiful. It's, like, so many colors and, like, excitement for something, you know?
Yeah.
That I really wasn't... I didn't know what I was going to get when I got in here, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I would agree. It was a very good film. I feel like it was really smart, and I wish in life we had more time to unpack this topic, just because it was really cool, and I feel like we could talk about it again one day.
Yeah.
Nightmares Point 3.
Yeah.
World.
Yeah, I mean, dreams and nightmares and, like, your sleep state and what happens when you're sleeping and all the different disorders people have.
Me.
Like, yeah, that is, like... Those are so many different, like, even when we were doing this, I was like, oh my gosh, we could do another one where we do this instead. And, like, oh, we could do this one where we talk about, like, astral projecting and all this other stuff. Like, I do think we'll do more. And this is a really cool interpretation of dreams that I didn't think we were going to do in an episode on our podcast about dreams. So I was very pleasantly surprised, and I like that we did that.
Yeah.
Kudos to us. We watched another thing, though.
We did. We watched Before I Wake from 2016 by
Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan.
Our boy.
So, is he our boy?
He is, because he's always... this is, like, episode, like, 5 that we've done one of his films.
That's
and
true.
it's always, like, we learn afterwards. We're like, Mikey.
Mikey, there you are. Look at
again.
you. Everyone's named Mike, except it's all the same Mike.
I'm
We
going to
didn't know
have to
it.
flag him. I'm going to tweet at you.
So, a couple adopts an orphaned child whose dreams and nightmares manifest physically as he sleeps.
I thought it said a couple idiots. And I
No.
was like, that's not nice.
They're dealing with a lot. They should be nice.
Yeah, so we have a couple who have. So this is a film on Netflix. We may or may not spoil things. But this is a couple that has experienced trauma and, as a way of coping, I guess, wants a child. And I don't know if that was what should have been.
Yeah, I'd say it's a questionable route.
Yeah.
Considering how soon after they underwent this, and they really did not give enough details as to how it happened.
Yeah.
Where it was like you kind of don't know if they had at any point endangered their previous child.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're gonna assume no and go along for the ride.
Yeah.
So it was.
But it's also like, it is a question. So for like a social worker, she was like, I picked him specifically for you because of what you went through, which is like, that's not a thing that people usually do as a social worker. Like usually, like if you've lost a child, like you're kind of on and especially from like a situation like that, you're kind of less likely to be able to adopt or foster another one for a while because they would want to like monitor you.
Yeah, they want to make
Like
sure.
you have to, like you probably would have to go to court to be like, I'm allowed. And so that just seemed really unlikely. I had just listened to like a podcast about like some woman who was like adopting out kids, and it was wild.
I think it really depends on where you are in the country too, because there's different states that are stricter about like the regulations surrounding it and others that aren't.
But we also know how Mikey is about his researching on topics before film, which is to say not really at all. But in this case, we have this kid who has been through quite a few families.
Yeah.
And then the beginning, like the first scene is like one of his foster parents is like gonna shoot him.
Yeah,
and
he's
he's trying
trying to.
this cute little boy. And then we just cut to like, something else is happening in the house. But he gets in here, he's super sweet. It's revealed that that family lost their son.
Yeah.
And then he has like a secret stash of like coffee and energy drinks and like other pills that keep you awake.
Yep.
Because he doesn't like to sleep.
And they're like, you need to sleep though, kid.
Yeah. Like, I'm enough of a parent that I know this. Like, so they want to make sure that he sleeps.
Yeah, which is like, arguably, like their responsibility as his new parents.
Yeah. Like, yeah, in no way was, like, she discovers it, the new mom discovers that, and then, like, takes that stuff away, and she feels guilty because she feels like she's trespassing, which is, like, I do think there should have been more conversation about it, right? Because, like, if a kid has that extensive of a stash to stay awake.
He had stimulants.
Yeah, so it's like, you must have, like, I would have been like, he needs to go to a sleep study. Like, I would have been like, he needs to go to therapy.
Someone gave him these.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Or even beyond that, it's like something is happening and it, like, maybe he has night terrors.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she didn't ask enough questions.
Yeah.
She was just like, I'll take away your entire very, like, rugged stash here.
Yeah.
And
he didn't ask him really why.
no. And kind of dismissed him, which is like a parent's thing, right? But it turns out that when he dreams, whatever he's dreaming of comes alive, which is also weird because, like, our dreams are not like that. We can't really, like, control them in that way. Like, there's the odds of him dreaming of butterflies that often is very rare.
They always start with butterflies.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Yeah, that's wild. That's the part where I was just like, okay, what about, like, a normal dream? Like, we're not going to end up in the classroom.
Yeah, it was strange that, like, the dreams are so repetitive and, like, that they were things that they wanted, not that he wanted.
Yeah, you can't control
he was
those.
very young. I feel like his dreams... And I mean, like, arguably, it's like you can't control them. That's why he just dreamed that the little boy existed. Because he saw the photo, because he was staring at it. So I could see that happening, but, like, there should have just been, like, maybe a little bit more variety.
Mm-hmm. But it's hard to do. But obviously,
like, it's CGI, right?
Well, it was a weird, like, technical stuff happening.
Yeah.
But it was like, you have this mother who's still in pain, so she like uses this poor little boy because she doesn't know him. It's been like 3 days. She doesn't care for this boy yet.
Yeah.
That's not how that works. And yeah, it was weird. I don't think it was like awful.
Yeah, I don't think it was a bad movie. I definitely thought it had its ups and downs.
Yeah. I didn't regret watching it. But I was like, okay, yeah, I did it.
Yeah, like it was decent. I don't think it was bad. I don't think anything was terribly problematic. I thought it was just there. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Jeff described. Like, it wasn't great, but it was there.
Yeah.
And it was okay.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it's dealing with dreams was weird. And like he has this one monster, the Canker Man, who, you know, is after them. And then there's an ending that was really sweet. We won't tell you what it was.
But I thought that was really cool
that was good.
How they did that.
Yeah. There was a good explanation of why like kids, like the way that kids' brains work.
Yeah.
And how they interpret information that's given to them. And if they had miraculous powers like this, that would be very likely.
Like how it would get twisted.
Yeah. And it was kind of like a game of telephone and stuff. And I thought that was interesting. And that part I was like, okay, all right, Mikey.
Yeah, that part was cool.
Yeah.
The ending outside of that, like
weird,
surrounding
sad.
that time period before they did the explanation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, yeah, I thought like the explanation at the end was really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked that she kind of got it. I liked that the mom got it and she figured it out and that she became a mom. And I do like that it became this thing where she was like, I'm a mom and I need a son and here you are.
Yeah.
And that was cute. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Okay.
Feelings. Yeah, feelings. Yeah, I said feelings. Let's talk about feelings. Okay. And all that spooky stuff. I love spooky stuff.
So if you like it, we're definitely in the Matrix.
We're 100%. You can't tell me we're not. There's not enough evidence.
I mean, I could tell you.
Suggest.
You just can choose whether or not to believe me.
Well, yeah, there's just not enough evidence to say we're 100% not in the Matrix. So.
And if you don't like it, it's everything is a penis.
Because that's what Freud thought.
Sigmund Freud. That's what he says. So on the topics of like dreams and reality and the very thin line between them.
Yeah, that's my bread and butter, man. That's my whole life.
Yeah.
There's so many times where I was like, is
did
this
that
real?
happen real or did I say I do that too all the time? I'm like, did I ask you this question or was that a dream?
Yeah. And it's also just,
like, what?
Yeah, there's so many conversations where I've had with people in dreams that weren't real and then just being like, what?
I already asked you this and you have this
so
very specific outcome and now it's different.
Or just like, yeah, I used to like to live in my dreams more than reality.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
a period of life
Same.
where I just wanted to go home and sleep because I was like, my dreams are so cool.
Yeah.
And like the whole narcolepsy thing is like REM sleep. That's all I did was dream. I lived 2 days. That's why I was so tired.
Yeah.
My brain was blipping and blooping all night.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I like dreams. I think it's the Matrix. I always think that, like, you know, the question of like, is this all a dream? And not even just the Matrix, right? Like this could be any kind of simulation.
We're someone else's dream, man.
Yeah, we could be anything.
Someone else goes to bed and is like, you know what? I wish I had a dream about being in this really cool podcast with that dope chick, Gabe.
Yeah, and now look, here we are. And I think like, whenever I think that, I'm always like, well, one, this software is super rude to give me. And like, I was like, we make up our own reality. I was like, well, I'm rude as all get out and I need to... I need to chill out.
It's heavily about perspective, honestly, and we are rude to ourselves, I think, as people.
Yeah.
Like, we're very hard on ourselves, and it's very hard for us to, like...
I was like, let me give me this real hard life and then deal with it. But also, like, I think if I have the choice of waking up, like, blue pill or like, red pill or staying in the simulation blue pill, I think that's what it was. I think I would probably stay.
Same.
I don't really, like... what? So what? You know?
Yeah, it's okay.
Like, what am I doing here that's any different? Like, so what if I'm fueling some robots or some aliens? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to wake up in that world. That sounds
we're
like
all doing
worse.
that,
Sounds
you know?
worse, you know?
Like, you breed animals to eat them all the time. Get over yourself. You're not that cool. And I mean, this seems way cooler than that, like, really, like, punk goth world. I don't know if I can wear that much leather,
Yeah, that's
first
true.
of all. Yeah, and there's only, like, 5 other humans alive. Please. I'd rather
And
live
then
in my
everyone you love
simulation.
goes off and dies. Like,
Yeah.
it's rude.
It'd be worse if it's the Truman Show. Because then it's like, oh, this was all a lie.
That
But
would
that's-
be messed up.
That's just
I
sad.
want to put a statement out, y'all.
Okay.
If I am in the Truman Show, that show haunted me.
Yeah.
That show haunted me. I
Yeah.
watched it over and over again so I could understand every section of that movie in the off chance I had to evaluate my surroundings.
Oh, no.
If I'm in the Truman Show, I'm never forgiving any of you.
Yeah.
This is the end. There's no after.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find all of you,
Yeah.
and this is over now.
You've seen me act, so you know
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
go-
this.
Outside of this world, go to the other world and be like, what?
Yeah. I got a new one now.
I'm not staying in the Truman Show. I will stay in the Matrix. It's
Yeah.
different. One's my creation.
Yeah.
The other is,
like just
other
people
people.
looking at you and laughing at you.
yeah, I don't like it.
That's not nice. Yeah. Weird science experiment. So, what about for the film Paprika?
Oh, I thought it was dope.
Yeah.
We're 100% in the Matrix.
Yeah.
I wish, like, because there were a lot of articles written about it, and I wanted to, like, dive into it and kind of, like, it's really saying something. I feel like it's a smart movie.
Yeah.
I feel like it's trying to tell us something, and I'm, like, excited to look at it later and be like, dang, I wish we talked about that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I
So if
think
anyone wants to
there's-
talk about it later, let me know. I'm down. I'm here.
Absolutely. I think like it is a classic, right? It's one that people really enjoy, and it does a thing where, you know, I feel like the way that Ghost in the Shell is very impactful for people, right? In that we don't really have to explain a lot, but we're still saying a lot.
Yeah.
And just like, and that's kind of like a thing that like Japanese does, like Japanese like film, right?
Yeah.
Like even when we were dissecting it, like with The Grudge and The Ring, like they don't say much. Like
yeah.
they
give
just
you
show.
just enough. They show you what
Whereas
you need to see.
America has to like explain.
And at the end, it was this person the whole time.
Yeah, and this
For
is
these
everything.
reasons, this is the trauma that impacted their life that made them this way. And you're just like, oh, cool. That's why I don't get jokes. I blame America.
Yeah.
They've been explaining stuff to me.
Because you have to over-explain.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was, you know, explaining away our fear of technology,
Yeah.
our fear of reality, and the merging of the two, how
Yeah.
susceptible we are to that. It's how wonderful it would be to have just like a machine that would help people do that, but also like how dangerous it is to be in the wrong hands. And I think that's really cool because it doesn't have to over explain. And even in times when it was still like very vague
Yeah.
in its explanation. So you had to be like, wait, what did we just say? And I would enjoy watching this again and with a group of people to experience the absurdity of it.
Yeah, it would be cool to watch with a group. I definitely agree with you.
It's super fun. I enjoyed it. I liked the ending. I thought it was cute. I was like getting into it. And now I'm a nightmare detective, so.
Yeah.
What about Before I Wake?
I'm in like a solid middle space. So not everything's a penis. But like there's definitely some penises up in this Matrix.
Yeah.
Like that's that's where I'm at with this
With
arrangement.
your judgment. Yeah.
Like it was okay.
I'm happy we watched it because it was on my list and I was like, it looks cute. And what
And it
if your
was
dreams
cute.
are real? I was just really mad at the mom lady because I was like, this poor boy, he didn't ask for that. Like I just felt like no one understood him.
Yeah. But
And
I mean
like no one
honestly,
stopped to try.
yeah, I mean, but honestly,
Yeah.
it's a pretty accurate portrayal
Yeah.
of what it is to be a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one's thinking your dreams are real.
Yeah.
No one
But
goes
even
there.
besides that, just like if you take out that factor, like if the dreams really weren't real, like and it's just a kid who has trauma, like no one tried. And I get it because he's in the foster system. But even like the social worker, she was like, he's my favorite, but she knew nothing.
Yeah.
How would she even not know? Like, it made me so sad. And he was so nice. He was such a nice kid to go through so much. And I was like, I feel like he was really, really good. And I don't know. I feel like he would have been a little more rough around the edges by then. That's like his fourth family.
And it's definitely possible. I also think it's tough that, like, I think it's problematic that the mom's file wasn't in the file.
Yeah.
Like, there should have been briefing
Yeah.
of what he's been through when they're giving, because then we would have reached the conclusion
Yeah.
quicker.
Yeah. Which is why it's a movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I can still be mad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was Dreams, right?
We have them. You have them. I don't anymore, really.
Sweet dreams are made of these.
Yeah, I don't.
Who am I to
I
disagree
take
about
medicine. I don't take them anymore. I don't have that.
Yeah.
My dreams were once made of these, but now they're.
Kat, you're my dream.
Oh, babe.
Come true.
Aw.
Oh, we're cute.
It's a Matrix.
Oh, we're cute in the Matrix. We would never leave each other.
That's true.
Don't leave me behind in the Matrix.
I would never.
Okay.
With these lungs.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe your lungs work out there.
I don't think they do.
It's not worth a try.
It's
You've
not-
been in
it's
a
not-
tube
it's not
for a
worth the
long time.
risk.
Your body does not work. It would take a long time for you to learn how to walk.
Yeah, it's not worth the risk.
I'm not just going to know how to do
I'm
that.
also pretty happy in here, so.
Yeah. You're like, no, there's no way any of them would have muscles. Anyway, so that was our episode on dreams.
Yeah, thank you for staying on this long ride.
Yeah, with us. We apologize
us
again for
being
being sick. I hope it was sultry and not irritating.
This is for you.
Yeah. And if you liked it, please drop us a rating and a like on iTunes because we appreciate it and it would make this illness better.
And also, if this is the first episode that you are tuning into,
We don't sound like this
we
usually.
do not sound like this all the time. And I'd argue we are a little more eloquent and factual.
Yeah.
But today,
Our brains are not working.
we
right.
got it. We were trying for you. But if this is the only episode you heard, please listen to another one before
try a
you
different
drop a
one.
rating on iTunes.
Yeah, that's true. I do feel like right now this is a little like ASMR.
Yeah, we're really doing something
So
with
just give us a rating on iTunes if you like ASMR.
Yeah.
Raspity dog.
I don't know what that means.
I hope you sweet dream of us later.